Hello, welcome to our lesson 3, cybercrime offenses. So for the past two lessons, we're done with the overview of cybercrime and the components of the computer and the computer system. So let's go now with the cybercrime offenses. Okay, the outline of this presentation is the history and legal framework of the law in the Philippines, practical features of RA 10175, di ba? Ito yung pinaka-cybercrime law natin sa Pilipinas. And of course, let's dig deeper dun sa kanyang cybercrime offenses. So, history and legal framework. By the way, this PowerPoint, I'm using the PowerPoint given by the DOJ. Okay, so, nung nagkaroon kami ng training about cybercrime subject, we have mini session with the DOJ, Department of Justice, Office of the Cybercrime, na about the history and legal framework of the RA 10175. Specifically, ang discuss nila sa amin is the cybercrime offenses and the cybercrime warrants. Okay, let's go with the history and legal framework. Paano ba tayo nagkaroon ng RA 10175? So, it all started dito sa history natin na virus. Kung naaalala nyo, sino ba yung personality natin na gumawa ng I Love You virus sa Philippines? It is none other than, sino? Si Mr. Onel de Guzman. So, because of this I Love You virus, diba? This is a strand virus created in 2000. So, it created an estimate of 15 billion US dollars in damages. And the creator, again, was released. Na-release po siya after being caught because there exists no law against malware that time. In short, nalong krimen, nalong pine, sinalege, ibig sabihin, there is no crime when there is no law punishing it. That is why in our history, Mr. Oneldo Guzman was set free. Why? Because wala pa tayong batas at that time that caters or that hinders all this type of cybercrime acts. So, hindi natin siya pwedeng hulihin at that time. But because of him, di ba, dahil sa ginawa niyang yun, it it is now an eye-opener for our congressman, di ba, congresswoman, for those naggumawa sila ng batas regarding this one. Ayan, because, so, noong year 2000, nung nangyari yung I Love You virus, nagkaroon sila ng e-commerce act. Ayan. 2000, the Electronic Commerce Act. Hindi pa agad-agad yung RA 10175 ha. Nagkaroon muna tayo ng e-commerce act. In 2000, the Congress passed the first domestic legislation that touched on cybercrime. And that is RA 8792 or also known as E-Commerce Act. Okay? E-Commerce Act yan. Ito yung ang tawag dito? Ito yung kauna-unahan nating batas sa cybercrime. 8792. Okay po. A year after, nung nagkaroon tayo ng Electronic Commerce Act, nagkaroon tayo nung 2000 ng Rules on Electronic Evidence. Okay, bakit? Siyempre, kung meron tayong e-commerce act, kailangan kung gusto nating maparusahan or ma-save din, 'di ba? Lahat ng tawag dito, lahat ng mga evidence that they will submit under Electronic Commerce Act, kailangan natin magkaroon ng rules on electronic evidence. So, after a year, ayan, the Supreme Court promulgated the rules on electronic evidence in order to complement the E-Commerce Act to assist the courts in applying the same. Kasi, oo, we can have E-Commerce Act, how to punish those hacking and cracking, yan. But, kung di magkakaroon ng rules on electronic evidence, how they can accept all the evidence that are digital. So, kailangan natin ng rules on electronic evidence. Okay, and then, nung 2014 naman, ayan, nung 2014, kasi limited lang po tong E-Commerce Act. hacking and cracking lang yung halos na tawag dito, nagpa-punch niya. So, in 2014, due to the limitation of the E-Commerce Act of 2000, the Congress legislated the first comprehensive law on cybercrime. Ayan. First comprehensive law on cybercrime, the RA 10175, ito na, Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, which is basically patterned after the Budapest Convention. Siyempre, if you're wondering, ma'am, 2012 pa yan, bakit ngayon 2014 parang siya na implement? Of course, kapag gumagawa sila ng batas, hindi naman agad-agad. By that year, i-implement na natin lahat. Ayan. So, that is the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Ngayon, after nung 2014, nagkaroon tayo ng rules on cybercrime warrants. Para maging mas specific, ano ba yung mga kailangan nilang makuha or ano lang yung pwede nilang makuha. Bakit nagkaroon tayo ng rules on cybercrime warrants, ma'am, in 2018? This is, of course, to protect our data privacy. Not all na nakikita natin or lahat ng nasa phone natin, agad-agad pwede nang kuhanin ng mga enforcers for them to inspect yung ating mga mobile devices or digital devices. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na Data Privacy Act, 'di ba? Ibig sabihin, para maging kasi right mo yun as a person, na meron tayong privacy sa mga bagay natin. So, not everything na pagkapunta nila sa'yo, nagkaroon ng warrant, yung normal search warrant, automatically they can get or they can search all they want. So, kailangan natin ng protection. That is why nagkaroon tayo ng rules on cybercrime warrants. Specifically, ito ang ginagamit during cybercrime cases. Hindi yung normal na search warrant. So, this is the flow of the domestic law here in the Philippines about cybercrime. We all started at 2000 at E-Commerce Act or R8 8792, and to complement with that, after that year, nagkaroon tayo ng rules on electronic evidence. Yan. Then, nagkaroon tayo ng 2014, of course, due to the limitation of RA 8792, nagkaroon tayo ng Cybercrime Prevention Act, which is much comprehensive. And then after that, to complement, of course, the Data Privacy Act also with the protection from the rights, diba? Yung mga rights natin, that we can have now the rules on cybercrime warrants. Ayan po yung flow ng domestic law here in the Philippines about the cybercrime. Anyway, all these laws are patterned internationally. Okay? Internationally. Ayan. Ito yung sinasabi ko na RA 8792. Ayan. Ito yun. RA 8792 or the E-Commerce Act, the first, it's known as the first cybercrime law in the Philippines. Again, it is known as the first cybercrime law in the Philippines. It criminalizes the act of hacking and cracking, which refers to unauthorized access into other computer. Okay? Yan po ang ating RA 8792. Ayan. Hacking and cracking lang. Very limited lang siya. But, syempre, 2,000 pa yan. Ayan. And then, after nyan, nagkaroon tayo ng RA 10175. Actually, before pa yun, di ba, nagkaroon tayo ng rules on electronic evidence. Yung sa rules on electronic evidence, uulitin ko, lahat kasi ng evidence, di ba may subject kayo na evidence? Di ba pinag-aaralan ninyo how to accept or what is the legality and validity of an evidence before it is accepted or admitted as an evidence inside the court. It's the same thing is true for those digital evidence. So, kailangan natin nung rules on electronic evidence. And para lang maliwanag sa inyo ano yung tinutukoy ko dun sa rules on electronic evidence bago tong RA 10175. Example, yung mga evidence na mga video, yan, 'di ba? Image and file. Lahat 'yan, those are electronic evidence. And again, pag sinabi nating electronic evidence, they are called as ephemeral. Sorry. 'Di ba tinatawag natin silang ephemeral? Ano yung ephemeral evidence, ma'am? An ephemeral evidence is a type of evidence na it can be easily destroyed. Kasi by its nature. Because it is digital. 'Di ba? Pwede siya agad-agad madaliin. We can compare ephemeral evidence to a footprint or tire print, 'di ba? Kapag meron tayong footprint, kanwari, yung as in bakas po ng paa, ng sapatos ninyo. Ayan. 'Di ba? Or footwear impressions na yan. 'Di ba kapag nawalisan na yan, may dumaan lang diyan, masisira or mawawala. It's the same thing with the ephemeral evidence. That is why nagkaroon tayo ng rules on electronic evidence. Um, let me give you an example. Example yung photo. Hindi naman or video. Hindi naman yan agad-agad can be admitted as an evidence sa loob ng korte unless what is the requirement when we are accepting a digital evidence inside the court. This is the requirement. Number one, kailangan na testify yan. Sino ang nag-testify, ma'am? Ang dapat nag-testify niyan is yung taong kumuha ng video or picture. Kailangan niya i-testify na lahat yan ay totoo and hindi siya edited. If in case wala yung taong yun, pwede silang kumuha ng expert. No? They can call an expert to do that one na magkaroon ng parang authentication. Ayan, doon sa whether that video or picture is original or not. That is the requirement on the rules on electronic evidence, which is much better kasi 'di ba, knowing that digital evidence or the nature of the digital can be easily manipulated, pwedeng ma-edit. Kung tayo nga, 'di ba? Sa profile picture mo, napakapayat mo, napaka ganda ng inyong skin, pero sa totoong buhay hindi, 'di ba? Kasi it is edited. So ganun din. Para maging maingat yung mga ating mga juries, 'di ba, yung mga judge sa pag-accept ng mga ganyang klaseng evidence, kailangan natin ng rules on electronic evidence wherein they need to adhere with the rules kung paano ba matatanggap or ma-admit ang isang digital evidence as an evidence inside the court. So that is the rules on electronic evidence. I'll give you an example of what happened. If you could remember yung ating yung alam niyo yung I don't care nag-viral yun sa FB before. Ang tawag dito, binaril siya or I mean yung isang pulis binaril niya yung dalawang magnanay, 'di ba? Parang meron silang away noon. Nag-viral yun if natatandaan niyo. And then si pulis sobrang galit niya. Nagkanta kasi yung nanay ng I don't care 'di ba? Tapos binaril niya sa sobrang asar niya. Binaril niya yung magnanay. So ending, nag-viral yung video. Kasi naka-video na yung parang pamangkin nila. Tapos, so ang ending, dahil nag-viral yung video, syempre, hindi naman automatically ma-admit yun as an evidence. Kasi it is viral sa video. So, ang kailangan mangyari nun is, di ba sumuko yung police officer noon. Ayan. Pagkasuko ng police officer, merong nag interview parang sa isang PNP chief or something na nag-aasikaso ng investigation. Sinabi tinanong nung reporter, convicted na po ba si police officer Nuesca? Si Nuesca kasi yun si Nuesca. And then, sabi nung chief investigation, I mean, kung sino man yun, PNP chief, I could not remember, I'm sorry. Ang sabi niya, hindi pa because there's no evidence. Sabi niya na there's still no evidence na pinapakita na siya talaga yung pumatay. Doon nag-react. Because of that interview, nagkaroon ng reaction yung mga netizens na, ay, kaya ang bagal ng justice sa Philippines Ay, kaya ang bagal ng hustisya sa Pilipinas. Meron na nga video, hindi pa yun tinanggap ba as an evidence? Ano yun? Pagtatakpan pa ba nila? Di ba? Where in fact, totoo, yes, there is a video. But because of lack of authentication, because of hindi pa siya na-verify kung original or not, hindi mo pwedeng masabi na evidence na yun. Yun yung kinagandahan ng rules on electronic evidence. Bago i-accept everything those digital evidence, kailangan muna niyang i-verify, i-authenticate. So, ang ending dun sa case ni Police Nuesca, nag-verify or nag-testify sa loob yung kanyang yung pamangkin nung namatay na yes, kinuha niya yun sa phone niya. Doon pa lang natin ma-accept yun as an evidence. So, after ng Rules on Electronic Evidence, ayan, noong 2014, napasado na sa Congress yung ating RA 10175. Ayan. The Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Ayan. Yung ating Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, nakaano rin dito, naka-base siya sa Budapest Convention. The Budapest Convention in the of cybercrime is the first international treaty dealing with crimes committed against or by, through, or with the use of computer and computer data of those committed via internet. Ayan. In particular, this convention aims to promote a common criminal policy among nations. Yan. Mostly naman sa mga bagong batas, nakabase tayo sa mga treaty, diba? Or conventions. Yan. Sa cybercrime, yung ginamit nilang convention noon is the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. Ang purpose of having this convention is para magkaroon ng pattern lahat ng mga countries about a certain crime. So, for the cybercrime, they use the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. So, let's go now with the practical features of RA number 10175. Ano ba yung mga tinatawag nating cybercrime offenses? Siyempre, pag binasa nyo yan, madami siya, 'di ba? Pinasulat ko nga sa inyo yung mga definition of terms nila, 'di ba? Kasi para maintindihan nyo, okay? For you to understand ano yung mga tawag dito? Ano yung mga terms ng batas na to? Okay? Pag nagbabasa kayo ng batas, make sure na you read the definition of terms because that definition of terms dinedefine niya yung mga terms na ginagamit sa batas on how they are being used in the law. Kasi kung di natin naiintindihan yung definition of terms or parang yung mga terms na yun, baka iba yung interpretation natin sa law. Okay. RA 10175 nakahati siya sa tatlo. Substantive, procedural, and cooperation. Ayan. So, substantive. Dito tayo sa ating, pag sinabi natin substantive law, ito yung mga batas that gives us the details on how or what are the rules or the elements on committing a crime. Sa procedural law, ito naman yung mga dapat gawin ng mga law enforcers whenever a person committed any crime, that is procedural law. And then cooperation, this is the international or mutual cooperation that is done between the agencies, pwedeng sa Philippines or pwedeng sa ibang bansa. But for this lesson na pag-usapan natin, mag-focus lang tayo kay cybercrime offenses because procedural, ayan, sa warrants to, which is in the next lesson po ito, and then cooperation. So, let's focus in this one sa substantive law niya. Yung substantive part niya, wherein ang pag-usapan natin is yung mga cybercrime offenses. Okay, let's start. Ayan, substantive lang muna. Ayan. Before pala, I just want to clarify, ayan, katulad nito, 2014, no? No, Dicini versus SOJ, 'di ba? Ang nangyari kasi dito, there are certain sections of RA 10175 that are not hindi na siya sinusunod because they are declared as unconstitutional provisions of this law. Ayan. Yung section 4, ayan, yung unsolicited commercial communication. Yung sinasabi kasi nating unsolicited commercial communications. Alam niyo yung mga, di ba nag-text sa atin ng Smart, Globe, ano pa ba, TM, token text, yung mga SIMs natin. Example lang naman. Di ba nagte-text sila ng mga promo? May free 100 MB ka if mag-load ka ng ganito. Yun yung tinatawag nating unsolicited commercial communications. Pag sinabi kasi nating unsolicited commercial communications, ibig sabihin, hindi naman kailangan na nagpaalam muna sa'yo si may-ari para bago siya mag-text ng promo. Ganito kasi siya. Uh, Dati kasi pinagbabawal nila yan. Bawal na mag-text ng mga promo, itong si mga Smart, Globe, ganyan sa inyo. Kasi dahil sa batas na RA 10175. So, tinanggal nila yon. Okay? Kasi hindi naman kailangan na kuhanin muna yung permission natin once na bumili tayo ng kanilang mga SIM. The moment that we acquire SIM to them, ibig sabihin, talagang gagamit tayo ng kanilang product, which is nga yung pagbili mo nga ng SIM. So, dun ka maglo-load, dun ka magpo-promo. So, yun. Dati kasi yun, pinagbawal silang mag-text because of this law. Tapos, tinanggal nila. Aiding or abetting, ayan. Or Section 5. Aiding or abetting attempt and commission of cybercrime relation to cyber libel and online child. Alam nyo ba before na ang cyber libel, once na nag-react ka lang ng like sign, kahit nag-like ka lang, kanwari, si Juan de la Cruz nag-post, ang pangit-pangit ni Pedro. Minention niya. Ikaw na person, dahil umaagree ka na pangit talaga si Pedro, nilike mo yun. Ayan. Before, just a simple like lang ng mga ganyang mga libelous comment, pwede ka na rin masampahan ng kaso. Pero ngayon, hindi na kailangan. Next, Section 12, ayan, real-time collection of traffic data and restricting or blocking access to computer data. Yung traffic data, hindi to yung sa sasakyan ha. Pag sinabi natin traffic data, these are types of data na electronically made. Example, pag nag-chat ka sa isang tao, di ba automatically, merong oras yan. Sino yung recipient, ganyan. Yun yung tawag nating traffic data. Ayan. Actually, pag-uusapan natin yan, pag-aral natin yung tatlong data na yan. Tatlo yung data na yan. Ito tawag nating content data, traffic data, tsaka yung parang information, yung parang subscriber information. Ayan. So, ayan. So, restricting or blocking access to computer data. So, those are the unconstitutional provision. Ibig sabihin na unconstitutional, hindi na siya nasusunod or hindi na siya pinapa-implement. Ayan, no. So, RA 10175, yung ating cybercrime offenses are divided into 3. Ayan. The CIA offenses, ang CIA, ibig sabihin, confidentiality, integrity, and availability offenses. Computer-related offenses and content-related offenses. Tatlo ha. CIA, computer-related, and content-related offenses. Ayan. Offenses against CIA. Ito yon. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer data and computer system. Again, what is computer data? These are the numbers and letters, diba? System, ito yung parang combination of your software and hardware, yung mga ginagamit nating applications, yung mga software. Ayun. Ito yung tinatawag natin sa CIA. Ayan. So, there are 6 acts that can be considered as CIA offenses. Illegal access, illegal interception, data interference, system interference, misuse of devices, and cyber squatting. Let's start. Illegal access. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng illegal access? Okay, before natin pag-usapan sa illegal access, let us define first what is access. Pag sinabi kasi nating access, eto yung parang pagpasok mo, di ba? When we say access, this is something na kailangan nakapasok ka. Hindi kailangan ng kabuuan, okay? Pag sinabi nating access, meron kang, di ba kamara, may access ka sa account ko. Now open mo yung account ko. That is an access. Diba? The moment that you can enter, that is an access. So, ano yung tinatawag nating illegal access? The offenders enter into the whole or any part of the computer system. Tingnan nyo ha, masabi ng access yan if nakapag-enter ka daw sa yung offender nakapag-enter sa whole or any part of the computer system. Example po ba nito, ma'am? Ang computer po ba, pwede ba nating sabihin nyo sa cellphone? Ma'am, nag-selfie siya sa phone ko. Inopen niya yung phone ko without my consent. Is that an illegal access? Yes, we can consider that as an illegal access. 'Di ba? Such access or entry is without right or not authorized. If you do not authorize that person na pakialaman yung mga digital devices mo, yung computer system mo, therefore, we can consider that as an illegal access. Oh. Kaya kayo, tawag dito, mag-ingat-ingat ngayon sa mga devices, lalo na kung hindi naman sa inyo. Kung pinagtitriban lang namin kaklase namin pwede yan magsampa ng kaso sa inyo. Illegal access. Ayun o. Pag sinabi natin without right, therefore, in excess of authority or without legal justification or court order, napakialaman mo yan. Pag sinabi natin enter or access, ibig sabihin to instruct, communicate. Ayan. To store data, 'di ba? Pag nag-picture ka niyan, ibig sabihin nag-save ka ng picture sa cellphone niya. Retrieve data from or may kinuha ka sa phone niya. Ayan. Computer system, ibig sabihin pwede siyang one device or group of interconnected or related devices with data processing capabilities. Yun ang tinatawag nating illegal access. Ayan ha. Ulitin ko, the act must be done without right. Kung walang karapatan at pinakailaman mo yan, yung kahit anong digital devices niya, that is illegal access. O, kaya kayo mag-ingat ha. Next. Illegal. Now, let's talk about illegal interception. But before we go to the illegal interception, let's define first what is interception. Pag sinabi kasi natin interception, it refers to listening to, recording, monitoring or surveillance of the content of communications, including, sabi nga niya, procurement of content of data, directly man yan, through access or indirectly man po, through the use of electronic eavesdropping or tapping devices. At the same time, the communication is occurring. When we say interception, ibig sabihin parang ito yung chismosa. Diba? Parang, diba before, kung gusto mo makichismis, makikinig ka sa usapan ng iba. Dito, sa interception na nagaganap, ito yung mga tinatawag nating digital na chismosa. It's either magre-record sila, diba, without the permission of the others. Is either pero silang iiwan na device dyan to record all the things na mag-eavesdropping sila. That is what we call interception. Ngayon, iba-iba na kasing way of intercepting communications Pwedeng meron silang ilalagay na device sa'yo, parang pwedeng maglagay sila ng software app sa'yo para mapakinggan kung ano yung mga nire-record or pinag-uusapan ninyo. That is an interception. Now, how it become illegal? Of course, again, para maging illegal yan, it is done without right or authority. Pag sinabi natin illegal interception, there is transmission of computer data, within a computer system, including electromagnetic emission from a computer system carrying such data. Example, nakuha niya kung ano lahat pinagsasearch mo doon sa cellphone mo without your permission. That is an illegal interception. Okay? So, such transmission is not intended for the public. Kasi lalo na kung private communication yan. Bakit niya ipapublic? Bakit niya kukuhanin? The offender intercepts such non-public transmission by technical means. Ibig sabihin, gumamit siya ng mga devices. Eavesdropping man yan, tapping devices man yan. Ayan, bawal po yan. And such interception is done without right. O kanwari, si Pedro at saka si Juan nagchichismisan sa loob ng room. Ngayon, ang ginawa itong si Nena, kanwari, nagtulog-tulugan. Pero ang ginawa niya, sa totoo lang, nagtulog-tulugan siya, tapos nagre-record siya ng pinag-uusapan ni Juan and Pedro. So, because that is a private communication, once na nag-intercept ka, nag-save ka ng mga ganyang klaseng data, nire-record mo, di ba? That is an interception. And if it is done without their permission, ayan, kaya siya nagiging illegal interception. Yan, illegal na po yan. Ibig sabihin, bawal nyo pong gawin yan. Sino bang may gusto dito na meron kayong private convo tapos biglang maglilik? Diba? Biglang maglilik sa labas without your permission. That is an illegal interception. Next. Ayan, no? Pag sinabi natin illegal interception, for example, ito, pwedeng ganito yung way niya. This is the browser. Regular connection kasi, magpupunta ka sa internet, browser, then website na. Kapag intercepted ang inyong communication, nagkakaroon ng interceptor. So, parang magre-redirect mo na siya kay interceptor bago ka mapunta kay website. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng sinesearch mo nun, nakikita niya. So, interception, nagaganap siya in a different ways or manner. Marami siyang ways paano magawa ito, tinatawag nating illegal interception. It can be done na meron kang tapping devices dyan, nilagay mo, or nag-record ka, it can be interception. Or pwede na naman remotely, di ba? Wala ka doon physically, basta meron kang nilagay sa computer niya, automatically, nare-record or nakikita mo. That is an illegal interception. Okay, mag-ingat ha. Next. Data interference. Okay, pag sinabi nating interference, ito, ibig sabihin, meron kang pinalitan. Okay? Pag sinabi nating interference, meaning, meron kang pinalitan. Sabi niya, the offenders alters the damage. Sabi niya. Pag, di ba, pag alter, mag-modify ka, nag-change ka. Kunwari, ang pangalan mo sa FB, Katrina, tapos pinalitan mo ng Katrino. That is alteration. May pinalitan ka, di ba? Damages, deletes, or causes the deterioration of computer data, electronic document, or electronic data message, including the introduction or transmission of viruses. Such act, again, was done without, right, tignan mo ha, and such alteration, damage, deletion, or deterioration is an intentional or a reckless alteration. Okay? So, bakit ba pinagbabawal itong data interference? So, this data interference, syempre, it aims to provide computer data and computer programs with protection similar to that enjoyed by the corporeal objects against infliction or damage. Parang, 'di ba, yung mga gamit natin, kaya nga may crimes against property 'Di ba, hindi pwedeng sirain 'yan ng mga ibang tao, yung mga bagay natin, yung mga things natin, personal things natin. Ganun din naman sa ating data, computer data. All our computer data, para maprotektahan sila from any damage, kailangan natin ng data interference. That talks about yung mga actions na pinagbabawal. Okay, that is data interference. So, the protected legal interest here is the integrity, of course, and the proper functioning of that computer data sa ating mga computer programs. Actually, dalawa to Data interference at saka system interference. Pero para hindi kayo malito, sa data interference, di ba pinag-usapan natin ng computer data? Ito yung mga zeros and ones natin. Ito yung mga letters and numbers natin. That is data interference. So, bawal mong i-modify yan, i-change yan ng walang permission or wala kang authority. Same thing is true naman kapag saan? Ito, kay system interference. Ano naman to? Ayan The offender intentionally alters or recklessly, hinders or interferes with the functioning of computer network or computer system. Yung kanina data yung mga letters, numbers, ganyan, yung mga laman, computer data. Pag sinabi naman nating system, computer system, yan, system interference, ang pinakikailaman natin dito, minomodify natin, is yung functioning ng computer system. Ayan. Again, this is done again without, without right or authority. Dito yung mga system interference, ayan, kadalasan, there are introduction or transmission of viruses, yung mga malwares natin. This system interference, ayan, it aims to criminalizing the intentional or reckless hindering of the lawful use of computer system, including telecom. 'Di ba recently sa batas, parang sa batas, sa news, merong mga gumagamit ng mga telecom, 'di ba, na parang para ma-hack yung wifi natin or para ma-get yung mga SIM numbers natin. Ayan. Including telecommunication facilities by using influencing computer data. So, the protected interest is the interest of operators and users of computer or telecommunication system being able to have them function properly. Kasi, kunwari, ma'am, may system po kami sa smart, ganyan. Kaso na-hack ng mga hackers, ganyan. Para nakapag-text sila ng free without di naman nila may-ari yung SIM. Ayun, that is a system interference. So, the provision of the law is formulated in a neutral way so that all kinds of function can be protected by it. So, nakita yung pinagkaiba? Di ba yung kanina data? Dito naman system. Dito na yung mga system, computer, system interference. So, para, tawag dito, mostly kasi sa mga paninira ng network to eh. The common activities in this one are sa networks, ayan, yung mga operational or commercial practices. Ayan. Yan ang mga tinitira ng system interference. Alam niyo palang biglang hindi namin matrack kung sino yung nag-message dito. Hindi namin matrack kung saan galing yung message na to. Or hindi mo alam paano nagamit yung computer mo. That is a system interference. Okay? Kanina, data interference. Ito naman ay system interference. Maliwanag? Next. Misuse of devices. Ito na. Ano ba yung pinag-uusapan natin ng misuse of devices? The use, production. Use, ginamit mo. Production, ginagawa mo. Sale, binebenta mo. Procurement, binili mo. Ayan. Importation, diba? From ibang lugar, from abroad, nag-import ka ba? Distribution, ikaw pa yung namigay. Or otherwise, making available without right of what? Ano yung tinatawag nating devices? Number 1, a device including computer program. Yan. Designed or adapted primarily for the purpose of committing any of the offenses under this act. Kahit anong device, pati yung computer program. Ma'am, hacker ako. Ayan. Gumawa ako ng sarili kong software, malware, malicious software na pwedeng manghack lahat ng contacts sa email. Ayan, that is a misuse of devices. Another, computer password. Ayan, password ha. Access code. Similar data by which whole or any part of the computer system is capable of being accessed for the purpose of committing any of the offense or under RA number 10175. Example, kunwari, merong registrar, nakuha niyo yung password ng computer nila. Ayan. Tapos, wala ka namang karapatan. In the possession of such devices, wala ka pang karapatan. That is without right. Ayan. Para mahuli ka sa ganitong kaso, kailangan wala kang karapatan, wala kang authority to have those. And then, another thing is, you have an intention to use it. Diba? That is a misuse of devices. Okay? Possess ng device man, computer program, pati password or access code. Bakit ka may password niyan? Ayan. Basta bakit pag questionable, that is misuse of devices. Bakit ka may password nito? Oh. Bakit ka gumagawa ng mga computer program, mga malicious software? That is misuse of devices. Maliwanag. Ma'am, hindi kailangan gamitin. Hindi mo naman kailangan na gamitin yan. Basta such possession, pwede na siyang ma-punish. Kasi bakit ka merong ganun? What is your intention? Of course, tatanungin, what is the intention? Why do you have those passwords? Bakit ka merong mga software na ganyan? Computer system na ganyan? Or bakit may device ka na pang-hack? Ganyan. Ito yung mga tinatawag nating misuse of devices. Okay. Next. Cyber squatting. Ano ang cyber squatting? Alam niyo po ba to? Ito yung parang gumagawa ka ng same. Kunwari, www.shopee.com. Ang spelling ng Shopee mo is single P. Tapos yung criminal, gumawa siya ng www.shopee.com pero double P naman. So, paano nga ba yung cyber squatting, man? Ayan. Ang cyber squatting meaning is the acquisition of domain name, ayan, over the internet in bad faith to profit, to mislead, para malito, to destroy reputation and deprive others from registering the same. If such domain name, again, tignan nyo, if it is similar, identical man, or confusingly similar to an existing trademark or registered with the appropriate government agency at that time. Bawal po yun. Identical, sabi niya, or in any way similar with the name of a person other than the registrant in case of personal name. Again, acquired without right or with intellectual property property interest in it. Ayan, that is cyber squatting. Ang purpose niya is para malito sila or minsan to destroy reputation. Ayan, those are cyber squatting. Siyempre, gumagawa niyan, tinatawag nating cyber squatter. Ayan. Single digit lang yung pinapalitan nila dyan or any single character para lang malito ka. Siyempre, kung di mo alam yung spelling ng Shopee, sa tingin mo, di ba kayo malilito? O, merong nag-double P. Samantalang ang Shopee ay single P lang. Diba? Cyber squatters have no intent to make an active use of that domain name and seek obtain a financial advantage by forcing and the entity concerned, even through the indirectly, to pay for the transfer of the ownership over the domain name. Ayan. So, ayan ang cyber squatting. Example niyan, tignan nyo to. Ang domain name kasi natin ganito. Yan. It must be done with bad faith, ha? Ito, ha. Domain name, sabi niya, website name or host name. Diba? www.philippinairlines.com. Kung nagkaroon ng underscore yan, kunwari, www.philippine_airlines.com. Kung malilito ka, ayun. Kung nakapunta sa, ano yung tinatawag natin, cyber squatting. Ayan, di ba? It must be similar or identical or confusingly similar to an existing trademark. Usually kasi, yung mga domain name natin, kung ano yung pangalan ng company nyo. Yan, o. Again, ang purpose dapat sa cyber squatting is to profit. Yan, kumita sila. To mislead, para malito yung mga tao. And to destroy the reputation. And deprive the others from registering the same. That is cyber squatting. Again, so we're done with the 6, I think, under the CIA offenses, which is, yun nga yung sinasabi ko na, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Ayan. So, illegal access, di ba? Ano pa? Illegal interception, data interference, system interference, ano pa ba yung isa? Cyber squatting, and misuse of devices. Ayan. So, those are the 6 acts under no CIA offenses. Let's go with the second one. Computer-related offenses. Okay. Ano kaya tong sinasabi natin computer-related offenses. So, merong tatlo. Under ng computer-related offenses, we have three. We have computer-related forgery, computer-related fraud, and computer-related identity theft. Okay. Ano po yan, ma'am? Okay, isa-isahin natin ha. Computer-related forgery. Actually, ang forgery, diba, punishable na to under ng revised penal code. Ang purpose lang naman of having this as in the cybercrime is to create a parallel offense to the forgery of tangible documents. Pag sinabi natin tangible, ito yung mga nahahawakan. Hey, how about po yung mga electronic document, e-files natin. Ayan. Kaya tayo merong computer-related forgery. So, it involves unauthorized creating or altering stored data so that they acquire a different evidentiary value in the course of legal transactions, which relies on the authenticity of information contained in the data and is subject to deception. So, the protected legal interest is the security and reliability of electronic data, which may have consequences for legal relations. So, these provisions covers unauthorized input of data, whether that data is correct man or incorrect, as long as the input of data was done with the intent that it can be considered or acted upon for legal purposes as if they were authentic. Ayan. Kaya sabi niya so ano yung mga data na yan, ma'am? It covers the data which is equivalent for public man or private document which has legal effects. Example, unauthorized input, ayan, 'di ba? Alteration, deletion of any computer data. Pwede mang correct yan or incorrect data that brings a situation that corresponds to making a false document. So, kapag gumawa ka dyan, kanwari alteration, nagpalit ka lang, di ba? There are partial changes, nag-delete ka, nag-remove ka ng data dyan, nag-add ka, in short, maglilid dyan doon sa tinatawag nating falsification of a genuine document. Yan. So, again, computer-related forgery, gumawa lang sila ng parallel offense doon sa mga tangible documents natin. Kasi di ba punishable yun under the revised penal code. So, ito yun, gumawa din sila para sa mga electronic document, ma'am. Ito na, gumawa na siya. So, the input, alteration, ayan, deletion of any computer data without right, resulting to inauthentic data, the intent that can be considered or acted upon for legal purposes as if they were authentic, regardless whether or not the data is directly readable man or intelligible. The act of knowingly using computer data, which is a product of computer, ayun pa naman, alam mo na peke yung document na yan, tapos ginamit mo pa. Ayan. For the purpose of perpetuating a fraudulent or dishonest design. Yan ang ating computer-related forgery. Para lang tumbasan yung mga forgery ng yung actual, yung nakaprint. Ito yung mga electronic document. Siyempre, kung meron tayong forgery, of course, meron siyang, ayan, ito. Meron siyang tinatawag na without right. Ayan. Without right, wala kang karapatan. Yung offender, nag-input, nag-delete, nag-alter, resulting into inauthentic data, whether directly man nababasa or hindi. With they tend to be acted upon for a legal purpose as if para paniwalaan mo sila na it is authentic. Kanwari si lolo mo, medyo techie. Bago na matay, gumawa ng last will testament niya. Pero hindi na sulat. Gumawa na siya electronically, PDF na. Tapos nakita mo yan, inedit mo yung PDF niya. Ayan. That is computer-related forgery. Ginawa mo yon. Alam niyo po ba na kahit hindi mo siya ginawa, punishable ka ba din? Kunwari, uses knowingly or intentionally. Ayan. Yung mga computer-related forge, yung parang alam mo naman na fake yon, pero ginamit mo pa. And, kaya mo ginamit yon is to perpetrate fraud. Ayan. Yan ang tinatawag nating computer-related forgery. Siyempre, kung meron tayong forgery, meron din tayong what? computer related fraud. Ayan. The offender, ayan, di ba? Without authority to do so and with fraudulent intent, input, alters, ayan, deletes computer data, interferes with the functioning of computer system. And such act may or may not result to the damage of another. So, paano po ba to? The computer fraud manipulation are criminalized if they produce a direct economic man or possessory loss of another person's property, yung panloloko. And the perpetrator acted with the intent of procuring a lawful economic gain for himself or for another person. The term loss of property, ayan, being broad notion, includes loss of what? Money, pera, tangibles and intangibles with economic value. Provided if no damage or loss has yet been caused, the penalty imposable shall be 1-degree lawyer. Okay? So, that is computer-related fraud. Panloloko na. Ito na yon. Example, yung mga nagte-text ng scam. Eh, di ba? Nakaka-receive ba kayo nito yung, kanwari, nag-text, lube update, sabi niya. Or minsan, di ba, magte-text sila sa inyo, do you want to win? Nanalo ka ng, di ba, 150,000. That is computer-related fraud. Assets presented or administered in computer system, ayan, e-funds, e-deposits, para lang kumita sila. That is computer-related fraud. This provision was enacted against undue input of manipulation in the course of data. Panloloko kasi. Digital na siya ng loloko. Diba? Nangi-scam, ma'am. Through text. That is computer-related fraud. Again now, with the intent of economic gain. Kailangan with economic gain. Next. O, computer-related identity theft. Dati kasi, pag sinabi natin identity theft, pangunguha ng identity ng iba. Example, magpapanggap kang si Pedro. O kanwari, naka-check-in si Pedro San Jose sa isang hotel o Hotel A. Kung kanwari gusto mong kuhanin yung booking niya doon sa Hotel A, magpapanggap kang ikaw si Pedro San Jose. Gagamit ka ng fake IDs, right? That is identity theft sa physical. Pero ngayon kasi 'di ba napakadami na din na computer related identity theft. Oh, sino dito yung may mga poster, 'di ba? The offender again intentionally acquires, uses, misuse, transfer, possess, alter, man or deletes identifying information belonging to another. Ayan. Kanwari, kinuha niya yung picture mo, kinuha niya yung pangalan mo online, tapos nagpapanggap siyang bilang ikaw, that is computer-related identity theft. Ayan. Done, again, without right or consent from the other person to whom the personal information belong, and which or may not result into damage. Ayan. So, ma'am, kahit po ba walang nangyaring damage dito, gumawa lang siya ng poster account or gumawa lang po siya ng wala man siya na biktima, pwede mo po siyang sampahan ng kaso. The moment na ginawa niya yung panloloko na kinuha niya yung identity mo, ginawa ka niya ng fake account, computer-related identity theft po yan. Okay, kahit wala pa siyang naloloko. Kasi intention, bakit intentional. Bakit kailangan na gamitin niya muna yung account mo, gumawa muna siya ng fake account. So, that is a computer-related identity theft. Okay. Next. Ayun. So, we're done with computer-related offenses. Let's go now with content. Ayan. Content-related offenses. So, ano yung mga content-related offenses natin? Cybersex, online child abuse or child pornography. Ayan. And cyber libel. Okay. So, ano po ba yung mga content-related offenses na yan, ma'am? Number one, cybersex. Pag sinabi nating cybersex, this is the willful engagement, ayan, maintenance, control, or operation directly or indirectly man of any lascivious exhibition of sexual organs or sexual activity. Of course, it is done with the aid of computer system, and it was done done for a favor or consideration. That is cybersex. Pag sinabi natin cybersex, alam niyo yung mga naka sa as in naka set up na nagbebenta ng sex through online. That is cybersex. Yan ang tinatawag natin cybersex. Prostitution online. Nakaset up ang kanilang computer, ayan, or any computer system or device. And, ayan, directly man sila with pinapakita yung mga ari nila, or kung kanwara yung live show na tinatawag nila, that is cybersex. As long there is a willful engagement, ayan, that is a cyber sex. Ganyan. Next. Pero ingat-ingat kayo dito sa cybersex na yan. Ayan. Next. Ayan o. Para ma-consider natin na cybersex yan, kailangan it must be an interactive prostitution by a webcam. Ayan o. It applies only to person engaged in the business. Yung talagang may mga business of maintaining or controlling or operating directly or indirectly. The exhibition of sexual organs or sexual activity with the aid of computer system. Ibig sabihin, at talagang mga nasa business, ito yung nagbabayad ka. Unless, ginawa nyo yan, ang magjowa kayo, tapos hindi siya tapos nagpabayad siya. Yan, siguro. Baka business yan ng jowa mo sa'yo. That is cybersex. Pero yung mga directly talaga na may mga site, di ba? May mga site dyan. Tapos they will conduct a cybersex. That is a cybersex. Interactive prostitution. Para masabi natin cybersex yan. Kailangan na interactive prostitution. Next. Ayan. And under other pa nang sa content, tawag dito, content related is child pornography. Okay po. Commission of any punishable acts under RA 9775 or Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009. Again, through computer system. And the penalty shall be 1 degree higher than that provided in RA 9775. Kasi ganito, meron tayong RA 9775, di ba? Ang RA 9775 po, child pornography po yun. Yun, if it is conducted through online. Ayan, through online na po siya. Gumamit ng internet. Through a computer system. Child pornography na siya. Ang nire-recognize pa rin naman ng batas or ng natin, yung law na RA 9775. It is still existing. But if it is done with a computer system or through the aid of computer system, therefore, nagkakaroon lang siya ng 1 degree higher. So, kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa mismong batas ng RA 9775, ganun pa rin naman, magkakaroon lang ng 1 degree higher ang kanyang penalty na ma-impose. Yan. Kasi pareho lang naman eh. Actually, ang ginawa nila sa child pornography under ng cybercrime law, it just expands the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, which is RA 9775. So, that is child pornography. Ayan. Next. Cyber libel. Oh, 'di ba ang libel is punishable na under revised penal code. Pero dahil yung mga chismosa ngayon is nagpo-post na through online, kaya nagkakaroon ng cyber libel, 'di ba? RA 10175 in defining cyber libel made a reference to the unlawful or prohibited acts of libel as defined in Article 355 of the revised penal code as amended. Again, this is done now with computer system. Dati kasi para makapag-commit ka ng libel, kailangan puntahan mo lahat ng mga kachismosohan mo sa barangay eh. Ipakalat mo. Pero ngayon dahil mga modern chismoso na sila, nagpo-post lang through online. Ayan. Kaya parang gumawa lang sila ng parallel doon sa libel na punishable na nung batas na to. Ngayon, kung kung it is done now with the use of the internet, with the use of computer system, then we can consider that as cyber libel. Sabi nga niya, cyber libel is not a new crime. Diba? It just merely reaffirms the online defamation constitutes similar means for committing cyber libel. Another thing na kailangan yung tandaan kay cyber libel, 'di ba? Only the author of the libelous statement of the article is penalized. Yun lang po. Kung sino lang yung nagsulat, hindi porket po what do you call this one? Hindi porket nag-comment ka or nag-comment or nag-like ka doon sa kanyang post cyber libel na. Yung mismong author ng libel statement, siya po ang masasampa ng kaso ng cyber libel. So those are the content related offenses. Other cybercrime offenses. So, ayan, aiding or abetting in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully abets any offenses enumerated in this act shall be held liable. Ayan, ano pa po? Attempts in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully attempts to commit any of the offenses shall be held liable also. But in relation to cyber libel and online child pornography, this is not permitted. Wala po tayong abetting, aiding or abetting. Automatically, principal siya na actor. Ayan. Kapag cyber libel and online child pornography. Next. Ayan. Ito, Section 6 of RA 10175. Actually, all crimes, sabi nga niya, defined and penalized by revised penal code. Kapag ginamitan na, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na parang cyber-enabled crime. Diba? Parang, it is done, or yung batas na yon is, or yung crime na yun is punishable na ng revised penal code or special laws, yung mga RAs. But it is committed with the use of ICT, yung information and computer technologies, shall be covered by the relevant provision of this act. The penalty imposed shall be 1 degree higher than that provided for the revised penal code. So, yun pa rin susundan natin nun, yung sa revised penal code or sa special law na yun. Dadagdagan lang siya ng 1 degree higher since gumamit sila ng computer devices. Diba? Example, ayan o, diba? Ito yung RPC and special penal laws, and then kinamitan mo ng ating ICT or ating information and communication technology, any computer device, gumamit ka, computer system. Ayan. So, anong mangyari? Ang magiging resulta, kung yung normal crime na yan, ginamitan mo ng medyo technology, ayan, what will happen? The penalty is 1 degree higher. And, yun na din yung magiging purpose kung bakit tayo magkakaroon ng investigative tools under RA 10175 can now be applicable. And, investigative tools will be discussed doon sa ating lesson 4. So, that is the cybercrime offenses of the cybercrime, yung mga of the cybercrime law. So, tatlo, diba? CIA, content-related, computer-related offenses. Ayan. So, we're done.